Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So this morning's live stream, I'm going to start this morning's live stream with a little bit of a monologue. I'm going to talk about some very strange things that are happening celestially, from the skies, from the stars, from the cosmos. We're talking about the asteroid that's on its way, the 3I Atlas asteroid. Now, initially, let me just caveat this, guys, all right? And I'll say from the get-go, I don't think this is aliens at all. I don't think this is aliens. But it might be. There is a chance, guys. Now, whether that's a 5% chance or a 1% chance, there's still a chance. So what I'm going to be doing in this live stream, I'm going to be talking about anomalies from this asteroid. But before we talk about that, we need to understand the context of this. And you can't talk about these asteroids that are on their way. So there's 3I Atlas, there's Apophis, and there's I think one called Swan as well. Swan was like the telescope that's and correct me if I'm wrong, please. Swan was a telescope that saw it. So back in January, this guy, Jeremy Corbell, or Corvell, whatever his name is, he came out and he did a video and he was quite clear about it. And he said, the lie that you're going to be told is that there's an alien armada on its way to Earth. And you're like, right, okay, mate, yeah, whatever, yeah, okay. And now, and this was before any of these asteroids were, were discovered. And now, literally, as we're sat here in what are we? Is it October 25? We literally have like lots of space rocks heading to slowly making their way towards Earth. Now, that is the actual reality, guys. That's the reality. That's the situation. That's where we are right now. So you can't not talk about these things without understanding the context and without understanding that people have been saying that these things are on their way. Now, look, guys, let's just go down aliens rule. Let's just pretend for a second that there are aliens on their way. Could it be that this guy, Jeremy Corbell, maybe he's been subverted? I don't know. Maybe who's to say that he's not lying? Who's to say that the government are not telling the truth? I don't know, guys. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys 8 anomalies of this asteroid, of 3I Atlas, and then we'll take it from there. So good morning, everyone. That's what we're talking about. Oh yeah, and another thing that's really peculiar is the US government has shut down. Now, look, guys, I'm not American. I'm not American, believe it or not. I don't understand 100% how this works. If someone can correct me on this, guys, please correct me. But as I understand it, the US government has shut down. So all government agencies now have shut down. I don't know why, but what I do know is right now there should be people at NASA working on little computers and stuff and getting images, doing analysis of this asteroid. And that's not being done. It's not being done. So it does look like it's flying it's flying past its closest approaches where we should be getting the best images. We should be having the best scientists work on this, and we should have more information on 3I Atlas. But the US government shut down. So all those NASA engineers, they're, as I understand it, they're all at home, or they're locked out with their computer systems, or they can't work. And look, guys, like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for those people. So, like, if it was me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to come in. I'm just going to come in. I don't care if I'm getting paid or not. So that's where we are now, guys. Right, let me open this page up. Is it that one? No, it's that one. Let me open this up, guys, and I'll give you guys. I'm just going to rattle these off as bullet points. I'll get to the comments. We'll get to the chat, and then we'll come back. So these are 8 known anomalies linked with 3I Atlas. Now, this is, I'm not the only one who's sharing these, guys. It's not an exclusive. Lots of people are talking about this. I will add one to this as well. That's not. I'll add 9 onto this. I'll add another one onto this afterwards, because there is something that I think is relevant. Anyway, so number 1. Its size, it's over, again, I don't know. I've not got the raw data, but it's over 5 kilometers wide. Now, if we think about the other interstellar travelers, the, what was it, Oumuamua? I think that was 1 kilometer. And then what was the other one after Oumuamua? I can't remember. 2I Atlas, basically. 2I Atlas was also about 1 kilometer. So this is, again, we've only got a very small sample, but, it's big. So we know that it's big. It has a strange jet, a forward jet of scattered sunlight 10 times longer than it is wide, pointing towards the sun. I don't know how that happens, guys. If you guys think about a comet, the tail of a comet goes the opposite way to the sun because it's the light of the sun. It's the solar radiation that is pushing that tail away. So in this context, you've got the tail facing the wrong way. It doesn't make sense. It's unusual in composition, so it has a high nickel content, low in iron, with mostly carbon dioxide instead of water. So maybe what's his name? Miliband. Maybe Miliband's going to be like really concerned if this hits Earth, because that'll give us a lot of carbon dioxide. Extreme polarization. So light from the object shows strong negative polarization. It has perfect alignment within 5 degrees. Now, there's a 0.2% likelihood that this is natural. That this is, the chances of this are 0.2%. The chances of this just being random are 0.2%. These are the interesting ones, guys, and these are the original ones as well. So its trajectory. So if you guys think about the Earth, using my magic 8 balls, if you guys think about the sun, think about the sun. All the planets rotate around, orbit the sun roughly at on the same plane. Yeah, you might have one here, you might have one here, one there, but they're roughly at the same plane. So it's, all the planets like, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. I'm putting Pluto in there, guys. I count Pluto as a planet. I'm not going to leave Pluto out. All the planets orbit the sun on a plane. That's called the what's it called? It's called the call it the solar plane. Call it the solar plane. They all orbit on the solar plane. This asteroid that's coming in through our atlas, it's on the same plane. That is very rare, guys. That is really, really, really rare. Like I just said there, 0.2% likelihood. Suspicious timing. Now, I didn't know what else to say about this, guys. They are going, they're going very close past Mars. This asteroid goes very close past Mars, very close past Venus, and very close past Jupiter. Very peculiar that an asteroid would skim past all these planets like it did. It's almost like it's getting a gravity assist. Or it could be, if we were sending this out as a probe, say that we, like humans, were sending this asteroid, say that we were sending a probe out, like we did with the, not the Viking, I guess the Viking as well. Not Voyager, was it? I can't remember whether it was Voyager 1 or Voyager 2. Somebody let me know in the chat, guys. But the satellites that we sent out in the 70s, I say we, the Americans, those satellites went on a very peculiar trajectory to get gravity assists from those planets. So what happened is that, they could use the gravity of that planet for propulsion. That's what we did with our satellites. So that's what it looks like this is doing. It's going very close to Mars, very close to Venus, very close to Jupiter. Now, the likelihood of that is 0.005%. So now you've got two things that are just very unlikely, very unlikely. Then we've got number 7, which is its directional coincidence. Now, I'm a little bit on the fence with this one, guys. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit on the fence. They're saying that this came from the same direction as the 1977 WOW signal. But they're also saying it's within 9 degrees of that WOW signal. And guys, look, 9 degrees, when we're talking about like space and galactic measurements, 9 degrees is a long way off. So I am on the fence about that one, guys. But they're saying that's a 0.6% likelihood. Again, I'm not convinced about that one. And it also has nickel and cyanide traces. Photos reveal possible signatures consistent with industrial nickel alloy compounds. Also, my one on this as well is the sheer speed of this thing. It's going really, 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 really fast. far too fast for it to be from. It's going too fast, basically, to be caught in the sun's gravity well. And I think it may even be the fastest solar visitor we've had. Anyway, guys, they're the 8th and my 9th anomaly about 3i Atlas. I'm going to come on to the chat, guys, and then we'll get on some of the news that's hitting the headlines in the UK. Good morning, everyone. Good morning on TikTok. Good morning, everyone. Guys, the chat's going crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, the chat on YouTube is going crackers. Silence is saying, hi all. Jody Lee saying morning. So Sharon Owen, D. Marie. Pix is saying, yeah, elliptical orbit. Sorry. Google it. It's saying it's only an asteroid. People that think it's something else are crazy. Right, I'm going with you. Google it. I'm good. Well, right, okay. I don't know whether we can classify it as an asteroid, a comet. It's certainly a space rock. I think that's what it's going to turn out to be, guys. I really do. But I do think there is a slight chance that it could be. There is a slight chance, a tiny, 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 tiny chance that there's some nanos on there. And you know what? Even if there isn't. The peculiar thing is that I'm looking at now. Yes, we've got all these, the massive size, the strange jets, the composition, obviously speed, the alignment, the timing, going past, was it Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and it coming from the area of the Wi-Fi signal. Yes, all those are peculiar. But for me, I'm just like thinking, right, why is the US government shut down right now when this sort of stuff needs to, like, people want to know what this is. So yes, I don't think it's aliens, but I do think there's a slight chance. And like Daniel Payne is saying here, honestly, I hope it's aliens. Yeah, let's be realistic, guys. Let's just accept it's probably not aliens, but let's hope it is aliens. Because I would much rather an alien war than a human on human war. And Google is saying, Google it can confirm it's no aliens. Oh, Google is being a killjoy this morning. He's saying he's not alien, so we'll go with that. Right, guys, I'm gonna jump over to YouTube because the chat's going crazy on YouTube. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, I'm on a little bit late this morning because I've had loads of work to do, and I had to take a call this morning. There was no way I could put it off. There's people in different time zones, and like 10 o'clock this morning was the only way that we could all like reasonably fit it in. Hang on, I just got a message through. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. I'll just put them up. Right, let me get the comments on. Let me get the comments on YouTube, guys. Hammond Eggs is saying the mothership could take all the immigrants to Alpha Centauri to work in the Strattonite mines. I don't even know what a Strattonite mine is, guys. I have no idea. 40k fan, are the orcs on the way? I think you guys are right. Okay. I think you guys are talking among yourselves. Right. Let me just have a look at these chats, guys. Endeavour to Preserve is saying the data has already been captured and stored. No more data can be obtained until it passes the glare of the sun in late November. Right. Okay. Guys, look, I'm giving you guys this analysis. I'm giving you guys this in real time. And I'm just telling you guys, they just seem to, whether this is aliens or not, and I don't think it is, guys, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's aliens. But whatever it is very strange. And I think it's a good thing. I do. I think it's a good thing that people are having that conversation now and people are not, laughing people away. Because let's face it, the likelihood that aliens exist somewhere in the universe, it's a mathematical certainty. Now, I'll be honest, guys, I'm not convinced that they've come here on little tin cans, little saucer, little flying saucers. I'm not sure they've come here, guys, to take away cows and to probe cows. Although, guys, have you guys seen those cow mutilations that happen in America. Those things are absolutely wild. Like, I don't know what they are. That's like, why is nobody investigating that? I think the cow mutilations in the United States, I would say they are akin to crop circles in the United Kingdom, in the context that, in fact, you know what? Have any cow mutilations ever happened in the UK? Let me have a look at this, guys. Let me just check. Oh, Cornwall cattle found mutilated, 2012. Cornwall cattle found mutilated and killed. 3 bullocks have been killed on a farm in a series. This is from 2012. A series of brutal attacks with 2 apparently hit with a hammer. All right, okay, so that's not okay. All right, that's just some sick people. Right, okay. Doesn't look like there have been any, cattle mutilation cases found in the United Kingdom. Sorry, guys, I went on a little bit of a side mission there. So what I was talking about there is, I think these cow mutilations and these cattle mutilations in the United States are akin to crop circles in the United Kingdom, in the context that they happen all the time, but we don't know what they are. In the United Kingdom, we have crop circles literally every summer in a Somerset region, Devon, Cornwall, Somerset region, every summer we have crop circles. Like, does that not like astound anybody? Why? And in the United States, they have a lot of these cow mutilations. Now, a lot of these cow mutilations are very strange, guys, because there's no blood found on the scenes, and and the cuts. It's really weird, guys. It's really weird, these cow mutilations. Merrick Wells is saying it could well be a probe utilizing an existing comet as camouflage or practical use of existing material. Yeah, so we talk about 3i Atlas here. So what you would do, something called an O'Neill cylinder. So what I think humans will do, I don't think humans are going to terraform other planets. What I think we will do to get off this planet, we will make our own habitats in space. So imagine, if you will, this as a cylinder. You would make this absolutely huge. You make it maybe like 5 kilometers in diameter, maybe 5 kilometers, maybe less, maybe a kilometer to start with. So that diameter would be like a kilometer to start with, and this would be maybe 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers or something, or let's just say 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers by 1 kilometer. And then on the inside of that, you spin it. So you spin this now. And then the people living on the inside would have centrifugal force. They'd be stuck to the bottom as it spins. Now, to protect that, and to build that and protect it, you would use an asteroid. So that you use the core material from an asteroid, and you would hollow out the asteroid, put this thing inside, and then put the excess mass on top as shielding. And that would be an O'Neill cylinder. And these things have been theorized for a long time. And I think that is how humanity is going to get off this planet. I don't think we're going to have like realistic long-term habitation on exoplanets. The work involved to terraform an actual planet, guys, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Like the energy that you would need is phenomenal. From now, he's saying, don't worry about rammy and shooty and stabby. I always worry about proby. So yeah, we always talk about, I mean, there's maybe one extra thing to worry about. We're all worrying about stabby, rammy, shooty. We've now got to worry about proby. So what's going to get us, guys? Are we going to get stabby or proby? I'm going to jump over here, guys. Google it over on. Oh, Google has got some fantastic information out here on TikTok, guys. Google is saying, don't believe anything you read. Aliens aren't that stupid to reveal themselves like this. Well, you know, maybe it's a false flag. Maybe it's this false flag that what's his name? Copperbell. I can't remember his name. Corbell. Maybe it's this false flag that Corbell's talking about. Don't believe everything you read. Angela Dawson's hoping for aliens as well. Angela Dawson's hoping for aliens. Google is saying 3i Atlas is a natural comet, not a probe, from a distant corner of the Milky Way. Right. Okay. What I will say to that is, if it is a comet, why is the tail facing of the comet facing the wrong way? Comets that contain ice such as water, carbon dioxide, and ammonia. They approach the sun, and as they approach the sun, these ice sublimates. They turn from solid to a gas. Okay, so with what we're saying there, guys, with this tail from this asteroid, I'll just give you guys this again. I've got more information on this. So the tail from whatever it is, whether it's a comet or an asteroid, guys, I don't know. So the tail, so normally when a comet is like, what was it? I can remember seeing Halley's Comet when I was about 4. I remember it was like a big thing. My granddad took me outside to see it, and you could see it in the sky. And the tail of the comet always faces away from the sun, because the solar wind presses against that comet, and obviously it blows stuff away from the sun. That's the reality. And that's what we know. Now, this, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever this is, the tail is pointing towards the sun. So that doesn't make sense. And again, look, guys, I've not got a telescope. I've not seen this. I'm just getting information from I'm just getting information like you guys from the mainstream. Carrying dust with them, sweeping from in the glowing coma and sweeping tail. Yeah, so look, Google it. Right, okay, guys, listen. So Google is saying the tail on this asteroid, or whatever it is indicative of a comet. Now, what I'm saying is, from the information that I'm getting, the tail is pointing the opposite way. Let me see, guys. I think I've got a bit of an, hang on, I've got a bit of an, yeah. So this has a forward jet. Comets typically exhibit jets of gas and dust when heated by the sun, driven by sublimation of volatile ices, i.e. water, CO2. These jets are often irregular and not perfectly as aligned. A jet that is 10 times longer than wide and points directly to the sun is unusual. So it is unusual. I'm not saying it's, you know, it's not smoking gun of aliens by no means, but it is unusual to say the least. Daniel Payne is saying, what's happening this morning? We're all talking about aliens, guys. We're all talking about aliens. Done that one. Angela's saying, watch Strange Harvest on YouTube about cattle mutilations. Are they happening in the UK? Are cattle mutilations happening in the UK, guys? Or is this just something in the United States? Ladies and gentlemen, guys, listen, we are triple streaming this morning. I keep forgetting to do this. We're talking about 3i Atlas. We're talking about alien life. Is this alien life on its way, or is it just going to be a space rock that goes past us? I'm trying to give you guys as much information as I can and trying to be as objective as possible. If you've not done so, guys, we are triple streaming. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we are on X. So if you can, guys, please hit those buttons down below. The like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, and all the things, guys. It really helps me out. I will continue this live stream on TikTok, YouTube, and X, and I'll close the TikTok down, and we will go over to YouTube, and we will just be live streaming on YouTube. Sorry, guys, I'm just going down these questions. Daniel Payne is saying, going to the moon nearly bankrupted the USA. That's if they did go to the moon. What's space travel going to do? Just raise our taxes. Daniel Payne's been negative. No, space travel will get humans off this planet. It will give us a new focus. Remember, guys, money's not relevant. Money doesn't exist. It's just numbers on a screen. And as soon as we can stop fighting wars amongst each other, that's when we'll have peace. We are predators, ladies and gentlemen. Humans are apex predators, although some of you may not feel like it. We are apex predators. We have eyes in the front of our heads. We are explorers, engineers, pioneers. We're meant to be expanding and exploring. Western culture is an expansionist culture. Unfortunately, right now on Earth, we have nowhere else to expand into. That's why we've got this like stagnation that we have, and as soon as we start exploring into the cosmos, onto the moon, onto Mars, onto asteroids, onto comets, that's when you will get an energy shift, an energy change. And rather than Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon developing bombs to kill each other, they will start to develop spacecraft, new mining machinery, new infrastructure, new industrialization of space. And that's the future I want to go into, guys. That is the future I want to be part of. That's the future I want to be part of, guys. I want to wake up to those headlines rather than a gang of men took a 12-year-old girl, this man from Somalia, this man from Nigeria, this gang of men from Afghanistan. I want to wake up to headlines. Britain's just developed a new drone recovery system to bring gold back from the cosmos. China have just developed a new way to put solar panels around the sun and give everybody unlimited clean energy. Russia have just developed a new nuclear reactor on the moon that's giving more. That's the kind of stuff I want to wake up to. New, exciting, new exciting dynamics instead of this old same dogma where we're fighting over little patches of dirt that are going to be given back in 10 years regardless. Anyway, guys, let me get these comments on YouTube and then we will continue. Where are we, guys? Where are we? Where are we? Debbie Doobs is saying, I just hope whatever it is doesn't fracture. Who knows where the debris could go? Yeah, so I think what we're talking about there is we watched, what's that movie? What's that movie with Bruce Willis? I don't know. The movie with Bruce Willis where he goes up. There was two. There was I think there was Sudden Impact and the other one. I think it was Armageddon. Yeah, it was Armageddon. One of them's it's literally the same movie. Asteroids on its way to Earth, and in one of them, Bruce Willis has to go up, and in fact, do they have to do it on both? I think they have to do it on both, though. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah. There's a line where if it's heading towards Earth, the Armageddon thing was heading towards Earth, but there was a line where they needed to blow it up. Otherwise, if they didn't blow it up in a split, so one goes north and one goes south or whatever, then those debris would just hit Earth. From now, he's saying this may be Big Buck Starship Trooper style. It could be, yeah, Starship Trooper style. Come on, NASA lied about the moon landings, had us believing it for years. Look, guys, when we talk about the moon landings, when people want, when we talk about the moon landings, I go down a strange path. I go down a very strange path, guys. In my head, in my heart, I'm looking at the images, looking at the footage from the moon landing, and I'm just thinking, this is absolutely ridiculous. This looks like a low budget, if you look at, again, I don't know what I'm expecting, and I'll be quite as objective as I can be, but looking at that footage, looking at the NASA footage from 69. It looks ridiculous. If you watch it now, guys, it looks absolutely ridiculous. And then you look more into that. The media were not allowed the media were not allowed a direct feed. So I don't know if you guys know this, but all the world media, when they were in, I don't know, where is it? Wherever the launch site is, Houston, sorry, Texas. When they were all in watching the moon landings, they were all in, and they saw they were not allowed a live feed. They weren't allowed a live feed. They had to have They had to have their cameras on a big screen that NASA put, and they had to record a big screen. And that's a bit weird. And then the president's phone call, the president's phone call to, I think, Neil Armstrong or whatever. And he's talking to him in real time. And you're thinking, they can't do that now to the space station. So how did they do that back then? So, there is a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks. But in the back of my mind, and this is going to take you down a rabbit hole, guys. This is going to be, guys, we are going down a rabbit hole right now. And it's a deep, dark one. When you go down this rabbit hole, you come to the natural conclusion, right, okay, at that time, the United States and Russia were in a Cold War, they were in a space race, and 100% the Russians had the technology to call out the Americans if they didn't go. 100% they had that. They were, they had radar and they had their own stuff in space. They had their own way to check and track the telemetry and the trigonometry, whatever. But they could the Russians could basically track the US craft going to the moon. 100%, guys, 100% that happened. Could happen. So I always say, if the moon landing was fake, and I take everything I've just said, guys, and I'm just giving you guys my honest opinion. If the moon landing was fake, then the Russians must have been in on it. And looking back, you think, right, Cold War, not a chance were the Russians in on it. But now you look at world events and you look at how world events have evolved, you kind of think, right, you know what, were the Russians in on it? Was it faked? Now, if you start going down that rabbit hole, then you start to think, right, okay, the Russians were in on it. Why were the Russians in on it? Who did they talk to? Who was talking to them? Who was dictating this? And then you hear these, what's his name? Buzz Aldrin, saying that they weren't alone up there. It's very strange. It's very strange. And like Neil Armstrong, they never did like a press conference. They did do press conferences when they got back, but they never did a tour. I mean, these guys are like global heroes. They're like global rock stars. Like America should have been pushing them out for everyone. Very weird, guys. Very weird. Very, very weird scenario. Did you have humans been to the moon? I would say yes, but there's a lot of question marks. If somebody gave me a little bit of evidence that pushed me over the other side, I would be like, yeah, I don't actually think that is. I may think that's not true. But if you're asking me a direct question, do I think humans have been to the moon? I would say yes. But it's not going to take me much evidence to change my mind, guys. It wouldn't take me much evidence to change my mind. I'm going to stick with the comments on YouTube for the moment, guys, because they're going wild. Danny Walker, is saying humans didn't have the technology to get back the radiation belt to go to the moon. Okay, well, I think Danny Walker, I think your autocorrect got you in the swizzle there. Danny Walker saying humans didn't have the technology to get out of the radiation belt. So there's something around the Earth called the Van Allen belt. Danny Walker is saying he doesn't. Humans didn't have the technology to get out of the radiation belt. Well, I mean, to counter that, if you go up through the North Pole, like in a polar orbit, like just go north, you can do that. That's where the radiation is weakest, so you can do that. So yeah. And Debbie Doobs is saying, if we went to the moon in '69, why are there no bases there by now? Again, Debbie Doobs, this is a fair question. It's a question that I don't have an answer to. You would expect this to be a thing. You would expect people. I mean, look, I'm going to speculate that there are bases underneath the ocean, like secret. Like, why wouldn't there be a secret base underneath the ocean, like deep down underneath the ocean, doing like oceany secret stuff? Why wouldn't that thing be happening? Why wouldn't that be a thing? I would say it is. So, there are bases all over the place. Why not a base on the moon? It makes perfect sense to me. Certainly for the United States, who have almost infinite budget. I don't know. Why does Russia agree with the Alaska Treaty, but nothing else? Something definitely going on. Yeah, there is something definitely going on, guys. And, the more I think about this, the more I'm thinking about nuclear weapons and opening portals to other dimensions, the more I'm thinking that the United States and the US are working together. That means that somebody's controlling them at the same time. Look, guys, let's not think that, you know, the Russians are not bringing in digital ID. Let's not think that the Russians are not bringing in CBDCs. Let's not think that the Russians are not going to, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier in Russia to bring in universal basic income. These things are happening in lockstep around the world, guys. They are. These things are happening in lockstep around the world. Daniel Payne over on TikTok is saying, did you know pigeons are dinosaurs? I did not know pigeons are dinosaurs. No, I did not know that, guys. And, you know, welcome. Thank you, Daniel Payne, for letting everyone know that pigeons are dinosaurs. I'm down with pigeons and dinosaurs, guys. I am. Thank you. Linda Lou, I'm going to pin this. Linda Lou, oh, hang on. Linda Lou, I'm trying to pin Linda Lou's comment. It keeps moving. Linda Lou, how are you? Linda Lou is saying, I watched the moon landing at the time. It was amazing, but not sure how true it is. And this is the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, when like back in the 60s, there was no social media, was there? On, you know, there was no social media back in, well, no, there was no, like your social media back in the 60s, early 70s, was you write a letter to someone, you know, so there was no other alternate explanation. And again, guys, you know, people have got to be very careful about alternate explanations because some of them are just garbage. And I listen to some people and like they're really convincing in their pitch. And I'm thinking, wow, are people actually buying this? But anyway, Linda Lewis saying, you know, she watched it at the time and it was fantastic. Back then in the 60s, in like the 70s, you know, whatever you saw on TV, whatever you saw, whatever BBC or I don't know, who was it in America, ABC News in America, whatever they said, that was it. You know, there was no alternate explanation. Now the question is, do we think media was being manipulated back in the 60s? I would say it was. So then you say, okay, was it being manipulated in the 50s? You know, I would say it was. Was it in the 40s? I would say it was. And I think you can go back, and as far as recorded history is, I mean, think how easy it was. Like, think how easy it was to control people's perception in like the 1900s when you used to get your news from a piece of paper. How difficult or easy do you think it would have been for somebody to write something that wasn't 100% accurate on that piece of paper and then give it to you? I'd say it was a lot easier back then to control the narrative than it is now. Now we have, like, everybody's got a mobile phone. And what do I always say, guys? You know, you can't hide anything anymore. You really can't. Like, you just can't. Well, on Earth anyway. You can't hide anything because all the information's out there. There's always someone there with a camera phone. There's always someone there, you know, recording. There's always someone there taking pictures, and those pictures get circulated. Like, I can take a picture now, and within 5 seconds, people in Australia, well, less, you know, with the internet, I can take a picture now, and within 5 seconds, people in Australia can be looking at it and can be, you know, subject matter experts in Australia can be saying, oh, no, this is that's not the way. Likewise, Australia, New Zealand, they can take pictures and we can see them. So it's a lot, you know, nothing's hidden anymore. You can't hide anything anymore. Anyway, guys, listen, let me get the rest of this chat on TikTok. I'll then jump over to YouTube. Oh, Google it is saying it's pointing at the sun because it's actually a large dust plume ejected from the sunlight side of the comet. So wouldn't that dust plume have moved? I don't know. The dust particles are too heavy to be pushed by solar radiation. Okay. Pressure, so they remain near the comet's surface, creating the sunward anti-tail effect. So Google it. You're saying there's an so Google it here is like giving an explanation here. So we're talking about 3i Atlas, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about this morning. We're talking about 3i Atlas, the 8 anomalies about 3i Atlas. And I'm discussing here with Google the tail on the asteroid or the comet, whatever it is, I don't know, that's pointing the wrong way. Now, Google's explanation for this is, well, look, guys, I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not a subject matter expert in this. I'm really not. So, you know, you guys will have to help me out. My understanding of tails on asteroids or comets, sorry, they get pushed by the solar radiation because, like, the stuff in it bubbles or whatever, and then that solar radiation pushes the comet tail away. Now, this asteroid, whatever it is, 3I Atlas, the comet is actually, the tail is actually facing towards the sun. Now, Google is saying that, hang on, let me repin this because the comment's about to go. Give me a second. Yeah, so what Google is saying is this was an ejection of matter from the sun side, and because the particles are too heavy, they're not being pushed away by the solar radiation. Now, my initial, so straight away, and I'm just asking questions here because I genuinely don't know, guys. Does that mean there's also a traditional tail? So they have two. So it has an anti tail and a tail, because you would think that, wouldn't you? You would think that if that was the case and this was an ejection and that stuff's just stayed there because that's where it was and gravity's keeping it in place, you would still think they would have a normal tail. Now, I don't know what the answer to that is, guys. Look, and I'll be quite honest, I don't know. Debbie is saying, hi, everyone. Hi to you. And Linda Lou is saying, there is something on the moon. See the moon, man, on TikTok. Lights flashing and things flying past. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen there's like quite a bit of footage online of the moon and like strange lights on the moon and things whizzing past. You know, like I said, you can't hide anything anymore. People have got telescopes now. People can record those telescopes. Like I can record a video. People can record the images from the moon. So yeah, you can't hide these things. And yeah, it is strange what's happening on the, it is strange what's happening on the moon. Endeavour to Preserve is saying, yes, a thin layer of gold can protect against certain types of radiation, particularly infrared radiation and heat, making it useful in applications like astronaut helmets and satellite components. Yeah, so I think there we're talking about, earlier on we were talking about, somebody said that the astronauts wouldn't be able to leave Earth because they wouldn't be able to get through the Van Allen belt, which is a radiation belt. And I was saying, well, if you go up through the North Pole, and obviously, you know, yes, they left from Cape Canaveral or whatever it was, that ship, that craft, that spaceship, the Saturn V rocket, yes, it went up, but then it changed and then it went on its mission. Jussie 1970, hello Jussie 1970, is saying, fun fact, you can for 1.3 million, you can fit, I think, 1.3 million Earths into the sun. Just shows you how small we are. That sounds a lot. Okay, I'll go with that. If that's it, that's it. I'll go with it. Danny Weller is saying, if it was a comet, the frozen debris would start to defrost and start to break off with the speed it's going. Look, guys, I think what we've all come to is the agreement that this is a very strange thing. It's very strange. And I want to be quite clear, guys, all right? I'm not saying it's aliens, but no, I'm not. I don't think it's going to be aliens. I think it's just going to be a rock and it's going to whiz past, but it is a strange rock. So do I think it's aliens? No. Do I think it could be aliens? Yes, I do. I do think it could be aliens. I think people that are closed off to the concept of extraterrestrial life really don't. I think it will be difficult to argue with that person. Google is saying it's not a typical comet tail. It's rather a dust plume created by the uneven heating on the comet's surface. Dust particles are too big for radiation pressure to bend them back. to that comment on Sean replied. Right, guys, there's a lot of comments. I'm trying to get the. There's a lot of comments on YouTube, guys. I mean, I could flick through them, but there's loads. Who sent me the comment on YouTube? Trevor Pritchard, is this the one? Trevor Pritchard is saying Alaska is home to the supposed Black Pyramid. Guys, we don't want racism on this channel. I don't see color. I just see pyramids, guys. All pyramids are equal as far as I'm concerned. Alaska is home to the supposed Black Pyramid buried in the ice. Yeah, there's quite a few pyramids. Here's one for you guys. Did you know that Crimea in Ukraine? Well, I guess it's annexed Ukraine right now. But where Crimea is, right now in whether you want to call Crimea Russia or Crimea Ukraine, it's whatever. On the southwest. So on the southwest, at the southwest of Crimea. Listen, guys, I never know what questions and comments I'm going to get. A lot of this information I give you guys is off the top of my head. So sometimes if I'm slightly wrong, or it was 78, not 79, or it was 70, or it wasn't this, it was that, please correct me, and I'm not meaning to mislead anyone. On the southwest corner tip of Crimea, there were huge pyramids discovered. And there was a big international, an international mission about to go down there and excavate those pyramids in Crimea. Guess what happened a couple of months later? Yeah, you got it. The Russian invasion, the Russian tanks moved in, and everything's been cancelled. A little bit peculiar. Does that sound strange to anyone? Let me Google this, guys. Let me just Google this. Crimean pyramids. Give me a second. Claims. Right. So here's the thing, guys. So I'm just going to read this. This is from AI. Claims of pyramids in Crimea are a subject of controversy, with some sources suggesting numerous ancient, possibly underground pyramid structures. However, these claims have not been supported by mainstream archaeology. Do you know why they're not supported by mainstream archaeology? Because when mainstream archaeology was just about to go to Crimea to investigate, the Russians invaded and annexed Crimea, and now there's been no archaeological surveys, or certainly no Western ones that we know about. So yes, I would say there's a lot of pyramids, a lot more pyramids around the world that are buried, that just people don't know about. Maybe there's even some in the United Kingdom. Trevor Pritchard is saying, that's interesting. They also found them in Bosnia too. Yeah, I've seen that one in Bosnia. You can't so I don't know if you guys have seen this, but in Bosnia, there's like this massive mountain. Well, it's not a mountain, a big hill. And if you look at it, it's a pyramid. It's covered in grass. There's trees growing on it. But to look at it, you're like, yeah, that is 100% a pyramid. It's like, like naturally. Do you know what, guys? I'm not going to say it's 100%. Like, I don't know what natural. Let me go back. I don't know what natural formations can make a hill, grow in the shape of a pyramid. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's one. Maybe we should ask Keir Starmer or something. Freddie is saying, Sean, I was replying to Danny Walker's comments because comments are icy, and he says it will start to defrost and break off on TikTok. Right, listen, guys, there's a lot of information on the chat. I'll be quite honest with you guys. If it's tanks, bombs, guns, planes, trains, automobiles, I am all over that, guys. I am. I wouldn't class myself an expert in asteroid, comet makeup and how they react. All I'm doing is reading from you guys some of the things that have been produced on the mainstream media that do seem particularly odd to me. Now, whether they're really odd or not, I don't know. Like, the main ones for me you know, first of all, the tail. Now, I know we've explained away the tail. You know, we've explained, or again, we've kind of given an explanation of this tail and why the tail's pointing towards the sun. Yeah, I didn't know that before. So I guess we can put that one in a box. The alignment and the trajectory matches the plane, the elliptical plane of the planets on our solar system. Now that's peculiar to me, guys. That really is peculiar. That's absolutely peculiar. That is a low likelihood. When you think about, imagine this is the sun. This whatever it is, 3i Atlas, it could come in from any direction, literally any direction. There's no, you know, any direction, but it's actually coming on the same plane that the planets orbit. Now that to me seems peculiar. It does. That to me seems very peculiar. Also, it's timing. It flies past, what is it? Mars, Venus, I think Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. It also reaches its perihelion when it's so the closest to the sun on, is it Halloween? I think it's Halloween. I think it's Halloween when it's right at the opposite side of the sun from Earth. So we won't be able to see what it's doing or what's happening. Seems real strange to me, guys. Really, really strange. Also, its direction. Now, I'm a little bit on the fence with this one, guys. Its direction. Now, they're saying it's coming from the direction of the WOW signal, which was a signal that was received in 1977. I think it was by the Arecibo space, the big listening thing. It was received in 1977, and the scientist said, like, he wrote "wow" at the side of it. It's never been repeated since, but they're saying this whatever it is coming from the same direction. But then they're saying within 9 degrees. That is a massive gap, guys. 9 degrees on a cosmic scale is huge. You know, that's huge. So I'm kind of on the fence with that one. Daniel Payne is saying, Raven, is the Earth flat? And I would say, I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm not. I don't think so. I don't think it's flat. Linda Lou is saying there are pyramids on the moon, exact same dimensions on those on Earth. Moon Man on TikTok saw that, shows them. Right, okay, I'm gonna have to have a look at that. I've not seen any pyramids on the moon. I've seen the pyramids on guys, listen, we're just getting some breaking news in here from Israel. Israeli hostages' families demand ceasefire be terminated if bodies are not returned by Hamas. What did we say, guys? We said let's get to Friday. Let's see if we can get to Friday before Hamas starts, before the conflict in the Middle East starts again. What I think I'm going to do, guys, we're almost at an hour. So what I think I'll do is, in fact, let me see this, see if there's live updates. If it's going to happen, guys, it will happen on Friday. Just give me a second, guys. Right, I can't find. Right, Freddie, where are you getting that from? I can't find that. What are you? All right, I've got it. So, okay, guys. So from the Independent, 37 minutes ago, guys, we've got 19 minutes ago. Gaza latest: Israeli hostage families demand ceasefire be terminated if bodies are not returned by Hamas. Hamas says all reachable hostage bodies have been returned to Israel after 2 more were handed over late on Wednesday. Families of Israeli hostages and captives have demanded that the ceasefire with Hamas be terminated if the 19 bodies remaining in Gaza are not returned. The agreement cannot continue to be implemented without Hamas returning all the hostages. The Hostage Families Forum headquarters said in a statement, any decision that weakens pressure on Hamas or allows the agreement to continue while hostages remain unreturned would be a grave moral and leadership failure. Okay, so that is out there, guys. That is out on the mainstream right now. That is breaking. It doesn't look like it's going to hold. I don't think it's going to hold, guys. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see this start again on Friday. But look, guys, let's stay on track. Let's stay on track. Hang on, Jussie saying 9 degrees in interstellar space isn't a huge distance. Is it a huge distance or is it not a huge distance, guys? 9 degrees in interstellar space. Okay, so when I was in the military, like if I was sending in indirect fire, like 1 degree is massively off, and your bombs are going to be like miles away. 9 degrees. Yeah, like 9 degrees, I'd probably get charged with, like incompetence or something, gross misconduct at 9 degrees. Lukaza, Frankie saying yo, and I'm saying yo right back to Lazanke. Sean, did you see the migrant that threatened Farage got 5 years? Debbie Doobs, yes, I did. Look, guys, I'm going to close you guys down on TikTok right now. I'm going to jump over. I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and I will just be streaming exclusively on YouTube and X. So the crux of this live stream, guys, we've been talking about 3i Atlas. I don't think it's aliens personally, but I think it could be. I'll be honest with you. I think it could be. I think there's a chance. Equally, I think the most likely thing is it's just going to sail by. It's going to be like, if you guys have ever watched the book, watch the book. If you've ever watched the book, read the book, Rendezvous with Rama, I think you're going to have that, that scenario where it just goes. There is breaking news coming out right now, guys. There's breaking news coming out right now about the ceasefire in Gaza. The Israeli hostages' families, they're demanding the ceasefire be terminated if Hamas don't return the bodies. If Hamas have said they're going to return the bodies, they should return the bodies. So I think that should happen. I really do think that if that's what they've agreed to. You get, again, anybody who says they understand the Middle East, they don't really understand the Middle East. So what I may do when I jump over to YouTube, I may finish this off on YouTube, and then I may open up a new live stream and talk about the Gaza latest, because I don't think that ceasefire is going to last, guys. I really don't think it's going to last. And Debbie Doobs has just asked a question over on YouTube. Sean, did you see the migrant that threatened Farage got 5 years? Yes, I did, and I'm going to talk about that now when I jump over. And for you guys who on YouTube, you guys on TikTok who are not going to jump over and watch me on YouTube or X, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on X, and I'll be back on later this. I'll be back on later this evening, guys. So I'll see you guys later. No, hang on. Sorry. Yeah, we're gone. We are gone. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I can drink coffee. I can also spill coffee. I can drink and... Oh, God, no, not on there. No, God. Not on there. I've got one of those leather... I spilled coffee on this before, and I've just made a right balls of it. So... Debbie Doobs is saying, Sean, did you see the migrant that threatened Farage got 5 years? I think that's excessive, guys. I'll be honest, I'll be objective. I think that's excessive. I don't think this guy should even be let into our country. I don't think we should be taking migrants. I just don't. I don't see how, again, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so I don't really want to pass that much judgment, but you can't really, you've got to understand, was that kid's threat credible? And I don't think it was. I think that kid, and he was a kid. You know, I look, guys. He's an Afghani, and I can talk openly about this now because I'm not on TikTok. I've done a lot of training with Afghan forces, and people like that would come in. Yes, I am big, strong, and I would break them down. I'd break them down. I would teach them. I would help them, and with the right mentoring, you make him into like a normal person. But this is what the problem is in Western society. We've emasculated ourselves. So whereas like a man would go in and like be a man and be in charge and dominate, we can't do that anymore. You're not allowed to do that. That's against their rights. That's aggressive. That's toxic masculinity. Okay, so this is a result of what you get. So when you don't have that masculinity, and it's not toxic, guys, masculinity is not toxic. When you don't have that masculinity leading, not everybody can be a leader, guys. Not everybody can be an alpha. You know, I've said this, and people were calling me racist when I said that David Lammy doesn't command a room. He doesn't command a room. It's got nothing about him being black. Barack Obama, he absolutely commands a room when he goes in there. He's got that thing. Whatever that thing is, the X factor, whatever it is, Barack Obama's got it. Barack Obama had it. And whatever you think about Barack Obama, you know, whatever. But what I'm getting at here is, if you go into a room and you dominate a room just by your presence, that's toxic masculinity. Oh, we're not allowed to do that. So you get these people like Madapasa who just need a bit of discipline. They just need a bit of discipline, guys. That's all they need. They need a bit of discipline. You can't discipline them. What you have to do is you have to write a report. You have to spend thousands. Then you have to send them to counseling. Then you have to send them on this course, then this course. And all this time, they just need a strong man to discipline them. And, you know, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back on track. 3-Eye Atlas. Alien life. Is it aliens? NASA shutdown. A lot of peculiar things, guys. I'm going to give my opening little pitch again, and then I will close this down. So right at the beginning of this live stream, I said you can't talk about these asteroids and space rocks heading towards Earth without talking about what the pretext to this, because this is not just popped out of nowhere. Previously to this, we've had what is his name? Jeremy. I want to say Jeremy Corbyn, but it's not. Jeremy Corbell. It's not Jeremy Corbyn. We've had Jeremy Corbyn talking about UFOs. We haven't. We've had Jeremy Corbell, and he's like a big UFO guy. He's like the leading UFO guy. He's like got a beard, and he came out in January and he said, and he went on record and he said, the lie that we're going to be told is that there is an alien armada slowly heading towards Earth. That's in January. And then I think it was maybe March or April this year. So well after this 3-Eye Atlas was, discovered, and now it's here, and NASA's shut down. So we're not getting any pictures, any analysis, any information from NASA. Now, I'm under no illusion, guys. I quite understand that there will still be people working there. They will have a skeleton staff. But in that context, it's a perfect example. It's a perfect excuse, why not to release any information to the public. So that's where we are on that, guys. You can't talk about these things without looking at the pretext. And again, I don't know who's telling the truth. Maybe Jeremy Corbell. Maybe he's been subverted by the alien, by the Dracos, by the Draco aliens. I don't know. So that's the pre-context. Now, the real world context of this, and there's a lot of anomalies. For me, the biggest anomalies are its trajectory. It's kind of unusual. It rendezvous with Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, and then it swizzles away. And some of you guys are saying, it's coming within 9 degrees of the wow signal. Now, I think that is a big I think that's quite a big thing, but you guys are saying it's not, so I guess the jury's out on that one. Endeavour to Preserve on YouTube is saying shadows in different locations was used by ethos. I don't know what this means, to demonstrate that the Earth is round. Right. Okay, right. So we're talking about, yes, the Earth is round. Freddie is saying Russia bombards Ukraine's gas sites as Zelensky flies to the US for Trump meeting. Yeah, guys, look, when we talk about the Ukraine-Russia conflict, this is what happens this time of year. They all bombard each other's energy grid because they want to make it cold. Obviously, if they make it cold, it's just that added layer of complexities when you're trying to conduct operations. UK economy expands as, oh God, I just broke my chair. Hang on. UK economy expands as GDP rises. Guys, I don't look. If you live in the United Kingdom right now, I think all we have to look forward to is taxes. I really do, guys. I think that's what's coming. Taxes, taxes, taxes. Nothing good's coming. We spoke about this, quite in depth in the last live stream. I think I did. I wonder how credible that figure is, Freddie, about the economy. I don't look, guys. I personally think these figures are massively skewed. I don't think our economy is growing at all. How can it be? Like, you just need to look on the ground in the United Kingdom. Businesses, shops, unemployment, everybody's going bust. It seems like the only people that have got a job right now is, I don't know, the government. Debbie is saying the Earth is flat. On top of elephants stood a shell of a turtle. All right, fact. Yeah, she's calling that as fact. So that's where we are, guys. So the Earth is a turtle shell standing on top of an elephant. She's saying it's a fact, so I'm going to go with that, guys. Flat Earth with a dome. Guys, are we going down this flat Earth route right now? China is a national security threat to the UK. Spy case officially warned. So there's some. So first of all, like here in the United Kingdom, we should not be letting anyone build our infrastructure. I've said this so many times. We all want to worry about this some sort of, I don't know, what would a Chinese spy be called? What would a I don't know. Think of a Chinese. I can't even think of one, guys. Think of a Chinese spy. We all want to think of these people with like little, little three-piece suits on and gadgets on their watches, driving an Aston Martin, climbing up drain pipes and taking pictures. The real threat to security is international investment. So we literally have Chinese investment building energy plants in the United Kingdom right now. That's what we have, guys. We have Chinese money building UK energy infrastructure. What do I always say, ladies and gentlemen? Every penny of international investment, we need to get rid of it. Every penny. We don't need it. We don't need it. So now, like with the water, let me just Google this and give you some facts, guys. Let me give you some facts. We all love the facts. Facts don't lie. China has been involved in building energy infrastructure in the UK with recent plans for companies like Mingyang to build a large wind turbine factory. This involvement includes past and potential future projects, such as the now divested stake in Sizewell C and stake in Hinkley Point C, and renewable energy like offshore wind farm, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, China are investing heavily in the UK's infrastructure. Oh, here we are, guys. 2 days ago, China's hold on UK infrastructure from nuclear power to Heathrow. So you know how I talk about, guys, this, I guess this is a different live stream. I'm just going to go with it now, though, guys, then we'll close it down. You know how I talk about, the water companies in the UK and people just stealing money out of those water companies and putting them into, international international investment, that money, when an international investor owns a water company, they don't have to reinvest and you have to pay them. So they can literally, sludge can come out of your tap and you still have to pay your bill. They just fleece people with that, guys, and they rip that money out. Now, can you imagine the same? Can you guys imagine the same with the energy sector in the UK? Chinese companies have stakes in the National Grid and Thames Water, as well as plans to build Britain's largest wind turbine manufacturing facility. So this is the real threat, guys. You know, the real threat to China from China isn't a spy, you know, isn't a spy climbing up someone's drain pipe and listening into what Keir Starmer's doing with some, I'm not going to say Ukrainian models, guys. I'm not going to say Ukrainian boys. I'm just going to say what he's, I don't know, what he's doing on his laptop. You know, that's not the real threat. The real threat is the one that's out there that everybody can see, that gets investment. And, you know, Rachel Reeves comes up and she says, we have secured 100 billion in international investment for our energy system. Well done, Rachel. Well done, Rachel. Yeah. Well, what's that going to cost us? Because we pay this back, guys. We pay this back. We pay every penny of that back. And when we pay that back in 5 years, remember, guys, an investor wants their return within 5 years. So say that China invests 5 billion. Year 1, they expect $1 billion back. Year 2, they expect $1 billion back. Year 6, they will still get $1 billion. But guess what? That $1 billion leaves our economy and it goes into their economy. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, 101. The only way you get rich as a country is by taking someone else's money. And that is the reality, guys. Nothing else. Nothing else. There's no other way a country gets rich. You can't tax yourself into prosperity. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to close this down. Oh, hang on. I am going to close this down, guys. I'm going to look on, right, guys, I'm going to close this live stream down. I'll be back on later, definitely before 8. I'm going to look what's happening in the Middle East right now, guys. And if it's critical, I will jump back on and I will do another live stream on what's happening in the Middle East. I don't think the ceasefire is going to hold there, guys. I really don't. But I wanted this live stream to be about 3i Atlas. Is it alien life? NASA shut down, what I think about it, what I think is going to happen. And you know what, guys? You guys have answered quite a few questions for me because I don't claim to be a subject matter expert on comets and asteroids and, you know, celestial mechanics, you know. So thank you guys for giving me the information that you guys have. I really do appreciate it. If you've not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please hit those buttons. The like, follow, subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on X, like, are the buttons up there on X? I don't know. Really just help me out, guys, when you do that. And share my stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Share my stuff. I do a live stream every morning at 10 and every evening at 8. UK time, of course. Right, guys, I will be closing you guys down. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you later.